Hey gang, you guys are hanging out underneath my toolbox shelf. We're gonna clean the shaft on the color command for the Kwik-Way loader. And I think I've got everything wired up. Let's see if we can start this thing. Get the choke on. It did this to me a little bit ago. Let me see if a little tap helps. Well, why is it doing that? It didn't do it in the tractor. Come on. Wake up, wakey wakey, eggs and bakey. Oh, excuse me. Let me check the battery connection here. There we go. Okay. Choke. Again. Okay. Yeah, it looks quite a bit better. Now we're going to test fit that pulley. Sorry about all the noise and that taking a minute. I've got you guys less than a foot away from my, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Engine start bench. Alright, now here's our pulley, and it's got a stamped key, and the key weight on this is probably going to need a little bit of cleaning too, but we'll see if this will go ahead and slide on there. Get that key weight facing straight up and down. Let's see what we get. Yeah, that key weight needs a little bit of cleaning. And that's easy enough too. Just get you a file that has the groove on the side. Take that and run that in there. And watch out for the hot muffler. And then once I get this pulley fit right, then we'll set it in the tractor, and we'll have to figure out where we need our pulley to be to match up with the you know, the pump pulley. As soon as we get those two matched up, then I can pull this back off, drill and tap for a set screw to hold that sucker in place. So that's where we're at. That came off good and easy. Let's see if we can go this way too, because we may need to go. Yep, we can go either way. That's good. 1.1/8" shaft, so kind of limits the pulleys that I have on hand, but it should work just fine. Now I do have a 1.1/8" electric clutch. It's a single pulley, but I don't know if that is going to line up with the pump. I may toy around with that a little bit and see, but you start the engine up, the pump's always running 24/7. You don't have an extra switch you have to worry about to kick the PTO on. But like I said, we'll see how this works out. But for now, we've got that cleaned off and ready. We can set this in the tractor. So let's get it over there and do that as soon as I find the button. I had you guys upside down. That's why it was such an ordeal. Okay, so I'm going to clean this up a little bit. We'll set that down, and I've got the pump already. Pump's still sitting in the bucket. Yes. We'll get the pump disconnected and get it over there and get to measuring, get to figuring. If you guys are ready, I'm ready. Oh, pretty and clean. Bet you guys thought I was going to forget to paint these. Ha ha. Nope. A little bit of cleaning done here. The paint's not going to match exactly. I don't have a charcoal gray, but it will stave off the rust, which is the main concern right now. Let's get this side cleaned off. This is just mineral spirits here. We clamp you guys. Just make sure the paint sticks, and inside and out. We'll shoot both. Get these wires up out of the way somehow. Maybe tuck in there. Yeah, that works. Well, it's turned out pretty good. I really do like that titanium welder. It's definitely a step up from the cheap generic Harbor Freight deal. But yeah, everything's all spick and span. Got the floorboard covered. I don't think I need to cover any of that there. We're just spritzing. Okay, we've got some Town & Country Magic enamel, tractor and truck, and it's gloss black. So just a quick dusting to start with, and I'll come back and give it another couple coats, and if I'm quick enough I can get rid of the overspray, because I forgot to cover this floorboard. Yep, it all came off. Good. Right on. I mean, it's going to be used. That's just me being OCD. Okay. While I'm thinking about it, I'll go ahead and stuff another rag over here. There, that'll take care of that when I spray again. Let that dry a little bit. Get the hoist out and pick the engine up and get ready to set it down in there. So I'll bring you guys back as soon as I'm ready to set the engine down in place. Alright, we've got the engine just sitting in there. I've just got a couple of the bolts in. I do not have them I don't have the engine bolted down yet because we're just doing a test trial fit to make sure of our measurements on getting that pump mounted the way we want the pump mounted. Of course, the pump's sitting right here, and I've got the belt. Just going to hang the belt on, hang the pump on, the pulley on the belt, and see where everything falls and where we're going to be as far as how we need to make our adjustments on this pulley. And we can adjust this pulley here, but very, very little. This pulley cannot be adjusted much at all. So I'm just going to set her down in there. Can I do that? Or do I have to come up from the bottom? I have to come up from the bottom. That's okay. I can tell right now, pulley's going to have to be out. We'll probably have to go the other way with the pulley, which I'm fine with. Doesn't matter to me which way this thing's got to go. And I can cut the neck down in the back if I have to. But let's go ahead and hang that. Get this table out of the way. Trying to see how I need to do this. Come on, get on there. Quit. There we go. Okay. It's gonna stay. I need to get out clamps or vice grips or something. Yeah, I've got a couple clamps here. Sorry, trying to do 30 things at once. Alright, looking at that, we'll have to cut that neck down a good bit to get the pump to center. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in just a second. Let me get this back up the way it is. If you look, you can see the angle of that belt is heading out that way. So I need to take and neck that down. And like I say, I'm fine with that. I can't mount it the other way because I won't be in the keyway groove. So I'm gonna knock off. Let's see how much. Looks like it's about, because this is sitting flat against here, so even though it's not mounted, it is mounted, but it isn't mounted, if that makes sense. So how much do I want to knock that down? I'm thinking if I take about 5/8 of an inch off the end of that pulley, no, maybe a little more. We'll, I can't add metal to it, so we'll start small. I'm gonna knock 5/8 of an inch off of the back side of this pulley. You guys aren't even looking. I'm gonna knock off 5/8 off the back side of this pulley. Just come back here and just whack it off, and then set it back on. See if we can't get these two pulleys aligned. And once we get them aligned, then I'll be able to drill and tap and put set screws in and hold that in place. And then I can leave it suspended on the belt, leave the pump suspended on the belt to get the bracketry pulled up into place, get my holes marked, get them drilled, and get the bracket mounted. Once the bracket is mounted and in a safe position, we may get lucky and still be able to snake that exhaust right down through there, but we're going to have to do some kind of a heat shield to keep from getting the belt too hot. But it's looking pretty good. I'll bring you guys back when I've got this neck down. We've got things lined up where we need to have them lined up. Alright, we got the pulley cut down, squared up, chamfered. Now we're gonna do the leather rinse repeat thing here and see where our location needs to be. Bring this up from the bottom again. I have to put the belt on the bottom first and then come up. Get up there. There you go. Gotcha. All right. Now we can come in. Oh yeah. Let me get the clamps on that and I'll show you guys. Let's see. Gotta get that level. Come on. Level out. There you go. One clamp's good enough, that way you guys be able to see a little better. And maybe a little bit more light. Another one of these like cob lights. The black one, so it doesn't show the dirt as much. I was getting the orange one dirty. Okay, as we can see, oh, I actually got the pulley on a little bit too far. Am I sitting square? Not quite sitting square. I'm only about an 1/8 of an inch away from the axle pivot bolt, so let me do a little bit of finagling here. I'll just leave the camera on, you guys can watch me finagle. It's a weird word, isn't it? Finagle, because it wants to whole pump needs to go that way just a little bit. Oh, allergies, gotta love them. Sorry for sniffling in your guys' ears. There we go. I had to get that bracket over far enough so that the radius here isn't interfering. That's pulling it in better. That's better. That's better. Okay, we're going to go one bolt. I'll show you. I can take my gloves off here. All right. Battery's getting low on the camera. I had to move it over a little bit to get away from that radius right there. So I just had to move it that way. So I moved it that way, and then I got the clamps on. I'm going to have a bolt on this side and on this side on the angle iron. And there's a piece of box tube right here. I'm going to have another bolt going right through that box tube. We'll get that marked. We'll blow through all three places. Excuse me, in order to lock this thing into place. But we have to lock it into place with enough tension. So what I may do is I'll do just a hole on one side, and then I'll do a slot on the other so that it's adjustable, so that you can put the needed tension on. I mean, right now it feels like good tension, but we don't know until we start it up and put it under load if it's going to spin on the pulley. So, and we are about a 1/4 inch away from that pulley being fully seated. And then we look at our alignment, and our alignment looks really good. Actually, that pulley needs to come out just a little bit, so let me pry bar. Get in there and we'll move that pulley out just a hair. Let me clamp you guys. Got to use 2 hands here. Sorry. Oh, and that sniffling. I know it drives you guys nuts because it drives me nuts. All I'm doing is moving the pulley outbound a little bit. Just a little, just a hair. I gotta move that clamp because it's in my line of view. Now, come on. Just don't flex. It moved a little bit. It's not too bad. What I'm looking at now is just the pitch angle of the pump pulley and making sure that everything is running perpendicular. I need to come out even just a little bit more. That's good, that's good, that's good. That looks real good. There's not enough room for me to put my level in there to see if I'm perfectly squared, but we'll know as soon as I'm going to drill and tap in the back side. And if we look in the front right here, our hangout, there's not very much hanging out there. In fact, if I wanted to, I could go ahead and turn that down and put a bolt and heavy washer in the end so that pulley doesn't want to fall off. There's no way that it would though, but we can do that. And then I can probably take that piece that I cut off, turn it down, and use it as a spacer right there so that I can positively locate that pulley. Is it necessary to do that? Not necessarily, but if I go that route, I will not have to drill and tap and put a set screw in, which is going to mar up the crankshaft. So if we can avoid marring up the crankshaft, we might as well go that route, huh? Put a little bit of extra work in. I'm going to get a measurement for that right there. In fact, the piece that I cut off is over here on the ground, right there. Oh, is it hot? Nope, it's not too bad. See, it looks like it's going to be a good thickness. It is just over, it's just, sorry, you guys didn't see that. See, it's just barely oversized, which is exactly what I want. So with that being just barely oversized. Now, what I did was I cut this off, and then I came up to my line here. So I cut this off and then took probably another between 1/8 inch and 3/16 of an inch off of that. So this I will chamfer the inside so it'll follow the radius. There's a slight radius where the crankshaft has been turned down, right down in there. So I'll have to relieve the inside of that, and I'll just clean the face of this off right here where I cut it off with the angle grinder, with the angle grinder and the cutoff wheel. And after we do that, yeah, I can just take that down and it will yeah, we'll just do that. That'll work out great. That'll work out really well. Then all I'll have to do is just determine what that bolt, what the thread pitch is on that bolt, and I've got a number of crankshaft end bolts hanging around, so I'll grab the crankshaft end bolt and may have to cut the end bolt down some too, but and it's got a big heavy Belleville washer, which is a curved washer. I've talked about those before. It's kind of a domed washer. I'll show you here. If you take a look at these washers, see how they look bent. Well, they're that way on purpose. As you tighten them down till they're flat, and it's essentially a flat lock washer. It takes the place of star washers, takes the place of regular lock washers, just takes place of all that stuff, and puts a bind on it so that it will not loosen up and back out. So thinking that's the direction I'm gonna go. All right, I gotta hunt for parts. I'll find those parts, and I'm gonna pop that pulley back off. Pop this pulley back off and get it turned down. I'm gonna go ahead and mark it now where the end of the crankshaft is, so that I know what to take down. And again, you can take off not enough, but you don't want to take off too much. So I'll turn this down first, and I'll slide it in back behind the pulley, and I'll seat the pulley to that. So I've got a machine finish on the back side of that pulley, and it'll be a machine finished against a machine finish. Then we'll come back in here up front and we'll mark this, and we will leave it ever so slightly proud. 10 thousandths would be plenty. Just 10 thousandths proud. I don't even really have to cut it down, but yeah, I don't have to cut it down. As long as my bolt's long enough, which it should certainly be, and I get my washer on there, then we're golden. We're done. Yeah, I don't even have to cut that down. So I saved myself an extra step there. Let me get this chucked up in the mill, or in the lathe rather. Well, the mill drill lathe, whatever you want to, the smithy, and we'll come back and put this on and seat it, and then I'll locate my crankshaft bolt storage or stockpile, and get that bolted in place and make sure that we are still lined up here. Now I can move the pulley on the pump 1/8 inch in either direction, about, let's see, is that right? Yeah, about 1/8 inch in either direction. So to get it perfect, I can handle that. And then, like I said, on one side, I'm going to make a slot in either the frame or in the angle iron that the bracket is made out of, and that'll allow us to put tension on that belt if we need to. So, and we'll do that with the mill head part of the smithy. All right, game plan set. I'll bring you guys over here, show you what I'm doing. Shaving this down, and the actual physical measurement doesn't matter in this case. All I did was I took a pair of inside indicators, set of inside indicators, and I set my calipers to that width right there, just like that. And so now I'm just aiming for that width on that. So I still have about, what, roughly 20 thousandths to take off. So, oh, pardon me, folks. Let me just go ahead and mount you guys here somewhere. Oh, there we go. Let me make sure that when I come in, you'll still be able to see. Yes, you'll still be able to see. Yep. Okay. I'm just going to back it off. We'll start her up. I'm just going to go in and take little bites at a time. Tiny little bites. Yum, 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 yum. I really like how quiet this is, because I don't have the lead screw going. So without the lead screw going, it's pretty quiet. Alright. Now we'll power her down, and we will check her again, see where we're at. I'm still just a little over. Remember, you can take too little off and then take a little more off. You take too much off, you can't put it back. I'm literally taking just like 3 or 4 thousandths of a shot off, so let's see where we're at now. I want this to just slide over. It's not quite there. It's really, really, really close. Last pass. Whoop. Should be the last go around. I don't have a DRO. There we go. We're there. All right. Now I can pop that sucker out, and that well, no, I can't. I'm gonna go ahead and get the chamfer on the inside there, get that taken care of. You guys don't need to see that. And then we'll get this behind the pulley, and then I've got the bolt and washer for the end. By the way, it's a 7/16 20. And plenty of engagement. Then that spacer will be right back there. Then that'll be it. That's all we'll need. So that will lock in our pulley to exactly where it needs to be. Then we can work on getting our holes drilled here for the bracket. Get our elongated holes so that we can adjust tension. And it'll be easy enough to just get a pry bar down in there and pry down on it to get your tension set. You don't want too much, but you don't want too little either. So I'm gonna take care of this and I'll be back. All right, I went ahead and faced the front of that, and I'll take that back off for you here real quick and show you. I wanted to leave a little bit of a shoulder, but I wanted more thread engagement for this bolt. So now I've got a lot of thread engagement for that bolt. But there it is. It is seated. You can see I've got about 1/8 of an inch there. Okay, and then my spacer in the back right there. So the spacer is up against the shoulder of the crankshaft, the unturned portion of the crankshaft. And then this is pressed up good and tight against the pulley. And then this draws everything together and holds everything in place. And you can see how much thread engagement I've got now because I just barely screwed it in. I guess general rule of thumb is at least the depth of the width of the bolt. I've got well over that, so I just felt a little more comfortable going ahead and taking some of that shoulder down right there. And there we go. And then I spun it over by hand. See how I can do this. Okay. It's a good thing I've got a third arm. And I have no binding. I'm not going to tell you guys where I've got that tripod clamped, or where I've got my where that was clamped. And we're going to stop here. It's getting long in the day. I've been out here since way early this morning, and it's time to get in, get a bite to eat. My hands and my neck are really bugging me. I've been doing better with my hands as far as not using them to grip stuff really hard. And when I do have to grip, I do it with my right hand. So anyway, there we go. We're going to end this part of the Kwik-Way. Engine is in loosely. It's not bolted down yet, but the bolts are in their respective holes, and the engine moves very little. So the little bit of movement that I'll get out of that, when I tighten everything down, I'll make sure that this pulley is, look where I'm at. Make sure the pulley's perpendicular or parallel with the pump pulley when we get it on. And if we look, we're already slotted here for tensioning the belt. So I just need to make sure that when I drill for that hole, that I drill at the bottom, that I drill down here, and that'll allow me to wedge this down. Follow me? Gives me, this is the fulcrum point, this will stay static, and this side will move down in order to tension the belt. So that's the plan, and I'm going to let the weight of the pump dictate where that hole goes, and then I will be able to tension beyond that using that. And then here's my hole that goes through this piece of square tube goes right through. There's the hole for that right there. So that hole goes all the way through, and then one hole to the left, one hole to the right. And this hole, this bolt won't go through until I've got it tensioned properly. Follow? So, and that bolt is more or less just going to be giving the center of this mass some support right above the pump. Just like it was mounted to the other one, but we've got to make some new holes in the front. But we've got our gussets in with our holes drilled. We've got it painted so it's not going to get dull or rust on us. We've still got about 3/8 of an inch clearance from the engine on this side. We've got more than that on this side. We've got about 5/8 of an inch over here between the starter and the hitch. And that paint is an enamel paint, and it takes a long time to cure. So that'll give this paint a chance to cure. We'll come back out fresh at it tomorrow, get the pump itself mounted, and once the pump is mounted, guess what? This thing comes off the lift, gets rolled underneath the Kwik-Way loader, gets hooked up, hoses get hooked up, and then that Kwik-Way loader will be on and mounted and ready to go. That's exciting, isn't it? So that's the plan for tomorrow, is to get it right, get it done, get this tractor done. Then we've just got a couple of small things to knock out on the other two tractors. Both of them started right up fine today. I've got to cover them back up because we've got some rain supposed to come in on Wednesday, in case I don't get them in the shop before then. But thank you guys very much for hanging out in the shop with me, and I'm sure Sean's just going to be over the moon that we are one day away from the loader being done. I know that I am, and this is real time. It is Monday, May 16th. This video will either post this evening or tomorrow morning, depending. It's going to be a long upload because I've done a lot of talking through it. But got our Smithy over there, donated to the cause and helped us get everything situated with that pulley. I'm glad that pulley ended up working out the way that I wanted it to, and it even worked out better because I was able to make a shoulder out of the piece that I cut off, and to get that pulley located exactly where it needed to be, and then to lock it all in just using the threads in the crankshaft. And that pulley it's going nowhere, absolutely nowhere. So we're golden in that regard. And if it comes down to one day he wants to put electric clutch on there, I'm sure that can be worked out too. So, but I know he's ready to get it back. I'm ready for him to get it back. And then, like I said, it looks like we will have room to run the exhaust pipe down in this corner with that pump hanging there. So we will see. If not, we'll shorten it, and it'll have to cut, it'll have to blow out in a different direction. But we'll get that figured when we get the pump mounted, get it on the Kwik-Way. Then we just cut a couple slots in the eyelets of the hood right here. Cut a couple slots in them. Put a couple pins in the frame, and the hood will just slip down right over top. It'll be a complete tractor, and it'll be able to go to work. And then I checked, I do not have a piece of angle iron long enough to go across that entire width. So I may have just fibbed. I didn't look over here. I take that back. I've got a piece that's plenty long enough to go across the front of that. So we're going to get that taken care of too, which will get the whoops out of the bucket. Got these two whoopses out of the bucket. What I'll do is just start welding here, do an inch weld, clamp it down, inch weld, and work it on down until I get to the other side. And once I get to the other side, I'll just lop off whatever's left of the angle iron. And then I've got the hooks to weld to it, thanks to a recent pick. Got these 2 hooks here that we're going to go ahead and weld to the angle iron. And I think that's the only 2 that I have. Yeah, that's pretty much the only 2 I have that will allow me to weld the way that I want to. So I have to clean the galvanize off and get that welded on. But that's no big deal. And then he'll be able to use his loader a lot like I use mine, which is picking stuff up. So there you go. Friendly Neighborhood Zippo. Thank you guys so very much for hanging out with me in the shop today. It's been a long one for me. It'll be a decent watch for you guys, and I will see you on the next one. Or, if you prefer, I'll see you when I see you.